Lovely. The floor is yours. Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
All right, so our theme for today was going to be about invasion, and particularly if something bad can crop up with something good. So can a bad thing offer good things?
Yes, so we're talking to maybe first year political science majors and first year philosophy members.
And our venue today will be in a lecturing hall, speaking and projecting to people who are attending an expo for first year philosophy and first year political science majors. I'm Arlen, and I'm a philosopher. Well, I aspire to be.
And I'm Tobiah, and I'm a political scientist. Of sorts.
Now, on first thought, one might wonder, what do philosophy and political science have in common?
Well, political science is a social science looking at governments and power and the analysis of political thoughts, behaviours and decisions.
Well, philosophy attempts to understand the nature of knowledge, man, reality and existence.
Today we're going to be looking at some big questions and what happens when political science meets philosophy in the arena of war.
So, is war a bad thing?
Is war a good thing?
If we believe it's a bad thing, can there be good things about this bad thing?
Can a good person do a bad thing?
Whose responsibility is it to deal with the communities, nations and people who do bad things?
If war is a bad thing, or does it just creep into...
Okay, you get the point.
We're just going to be looking at some of these big questions today.
Through some different literary forms.
Drama,
poetry
and prose.
I'd like to introduce you to two men, Porky and Smiler.
Two men in the guts of the Dardanelles offences in World War I. Porky, I'm still not very good at this.
Don't worry, mate. Neither Sir General Ian Hamilton.
That's sedition.
No, Smiler. Inspiration, mate. He says, we're all sharing a glorious adventure unprecedented in modern war. What we just saw was two men who signed up to a battle that wasn't even theirs. In reality, they were just pawns in a much bigger game.
You see, it wasn't Porky or Smiler who were at war, it was their countries.
In New Zealand, we've had an author who was also a philosopher, but he had some pretty strong political views, many of which went against the current beliefs of the time.
This is A Bucket of Blood for $1 by James K. Baxter. You'll have to learn, said Uncle Sam, the Yankee way of work, now that you've joined our crusade against the modern Turk. The capital of the Commonwealth is not London, but New York.
Is it okay for a government to sell their citizens into a battle that isn't even theirs?
Why are we so afraid to question powerful nations and governments?
Why do we always feel the need to follow, like a lamb to the slaughter?
Wilfred Owen was a World War I poet who wrote about the reality of war, the grits, the guts, and the grotesque.
This is Dulce et Decorum Est by Wilfred Owen. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we curse through sludge.
As political scientists, we can look back on what's happened in our history and we can use hindsight to figure out what went wrong and hopefully learn from it.
Now, as philosophers, we look at hindsight and see that mankind's worst enemy is, well, mankind.
This is Animal Farm by George Orwell. June came and the hay was almost ready for cutting. On Midsummer's Eve, which was a Saturday, Mr. Jones went into Wildington and got so drunk at the Red Lion that he did not come back until midday on Sunday.
So what happens when the people doing the work figure out what's happening? And I mean what's really happy.
Guy Montag is an average guy in your censored neighborhood. He had an average job. He gets disgruntled with the way that he's living and decides to grow a mind of his own. Yet he finds out what he wants, he can't actually have. In this scene, we see him being forced to burn down his own house by his superior because it contains the books that have enlightened him.
This is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I want you to do this job all by your lonesome, Montag, not with kerosene and a match, but piecework.
As a political scientist, the work we've shared with you today has taken us on a journey through political motivation for war and man's quest for power.
And as a philosopher, all I've done today is actually teach you nothing. Well, that is the nature of philosophy.
We'd like to leave you with these questions.
Is war a bad thing?
Is war a good thing?
If we believe it's a bad thing, can there be good things about this bad thing?
Can good people do bad things?
What constitutes a bad act?
Thank you.
I'm interested in how you came to select the pieces. Can you talk me through that?
Me and Alan are both keen history nerds, I guess you could say. We love looking at history, we love studying history. And so basically, we just thought that, you know, why not look at history, but do a more bigger depth into it and look at the two perspectives. So look at the perspective of a government that has control over a nation, look at the perspective of the people who are in the nation and the soldiers who are part of that nation, who just get sent off according to the government's command. And so we wanted to look at those two different perspectives and see how they clashed or where they, you know, joined.
Look, I really enjoyed it, and I don't think it's fair to say anything other than congratulations. And yeah, I'll send your reports through, and I'm sure you'll be happy with the result. I certainly hope so.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Melissa.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Goodbye.